Taking a loved one to a nursing home, expecting care and comfort, but instead of finding something else. A Valley woman says the level of neglect that her brother suffered is inhuman and almost killed him. A 13 Chief Investigator Darcy Spears now has the troubling story that prompted a lawsuit. A warning first that some of what you'll see is graphic.
Everybody that sees the pictures, they're mortified. They're mortified.
Teresa Begay is not wrong. The pictures of her brother Henry are hard to look at, so much so that we're being selective with what we show.
What do those pictures say?
Neglect. What else could it say?
Begay says she tried her best to be there for him, help care for him, and advocate for him as he recovered from a stroke. Now, the images are seared into her mind.
It was horrible. Nobody should have to live in those conditions whatsoever. Nobody.
Henry's a survivor. He was in New Orleans for Hurricane Katrina. Then he moved back here and lived through a vicious attack.
His apartment was broken into and they sliced his throat from ear to ear. Yep, they didn't get his jugular. He's a fighter. My brother's a fighter. He made it through, but he ended up having a mini stroke.
That's how he ended up at Life Care on Harmon and Eastern in March of 2019.
I would go twice a day on my lunch break and after work, and I would feed him.
Then she says she spotted the warning signs.
I would find him and he'd be covered in feces, and it would be dried. You can tell. It's not like it just happened.
Henry's lawsuit against Life Care lays out a timeline of alleged neglect. It says Teresa would regularly visit and complain to staff.
I can voice my concern, and it was like it fell on deaf ears.
The suit accuses failures in care, like placing his water out of reach, not helping him eat or drink, leaving his food and juice out for several days to spoil, and not changing his wet and soiled diapers. About 3 weeks after Henry got to Life Care, the lawsuit says staff tried to discharge him, claiming he was fit to return home because he was able to feed and dress himself. Teresa says that was retaliation for her complaints.
So I said, okay. I said, now I want the physical therapy people to come into the room and show me, take my brother, I want him to dress himself in front of me. And I had my camera and I was filming. He couldn't do it.
In her video, Henry tries to button his own shirt, but can't.
He's been in bed the past 2 days.
Life Care did not end up discharging Henry. Teresa didn't stop worrying.
My heart genuinely went out to my brother, and I was like, he's not going to die. I'm not going to let him die.
She continued to watch over him and document his conditions. On March 28, 2019.
Oh yeah, it was lunchtime, and I came into the dining room, and lo and behold, he's laying on the ground, and I got the camera out, and I started filming. And you don't need to film this, the administrator said. I said, yes, I do, honey.
In the way we've framed our lawsuit, this goes beyond just neglect.
Attorney Michael Nixon.
When Henry was there, he was able to speak. And within a number of months, he was no longer able to speak. And there's been no explanation as to why that is. There's been no medical documentation that we've been shown so far to explain this dramatic change in who Henry Owens is as a person.
Medical records referenced in the lawsuit show Henry suffered numerous urinary tract infections due to being left for hours in soaking diapers and sheets. He was sent to the hospital for treatment of those infections multiple times, as well as for severe dehydration, MRSA, and sepsis.
It's alarming because you would expect someone to step in way before it gets to this point. Not someone like an attorney, but someone like a care provider, a nurse, a staff member, a doctor. Somebody to get there and say, hey, this is not right and we're going to take care of this because that's our job.
Teresa was forced to end her daily visits earlier this year when coronavirus hit and Las Vegas went on lockdown.
You saw the care he was getting when you could visit him.
Oh, and that was bad.
And then when you couldn't.
I was scared. I was distraught. Because the last time I seen him was around March. And in May, they told me he got the COVID.
She had Life Care send Henry to Desert Springs Hospital, where staff discovered the devastating bed sores and took those graphic photos. The wounds were so severe, Henry had to have one of his toes amputated. The executive director here told me over the phone that he's well aware of the lawsuit, but claims that Life Care is not worried about it. He says he knows the family's making a stir, but says the facility did everything right. He then referred me to their corporate public relations team, who sent a statement. The statement reads in part, "We have recently been made aware of a lawsuit filed against our facility regarding the care of a resident. Due to the pending legal action and HIPAA, we cannot provide specific information on this matter. While the case is pending, we will continue to focus on providing quality and compassionate care to our residents." In Life Care's answer filed in court,
They either say they don't have enough information to answer our allegations, or they flat out deny every allegation we've made.
Henry's is just the latest in a string of lawsuits against Life Care in Clark County.
They've been sued more than 20 times for cases like this in the past.
Some are still open, some dismissed, and some settled out of court for undisclosed amounts of money. Life Care is a national chain and has also paid up in the largest settlement of its kind in U.S. Department of Justice history. In 2016, Life Care and its billionaire owner, Forrest Preston, agreed to pay $145 million to resolve a government lawsuit. The feds accused Life Care of submitting false claims for rehabilitation services to Medicare and TRICARE as part of a fraudulent scheme to unjustly enrich its owner.
That concerns us because now we think that Life Care centers may be more so profit-oriented, that it's doing things that are more in the interest of its one and only shareholder, as opposed to the individuals like Henry Owens who come in to be cared for.
Henry is no longer at Life Care. Teresa moved him to a new facility after his hospital stay in May. About a week ago, she was able to visit with him through a window for the first time since the pandemic hit.
I miss you so much. I can't come in because of this virus thing, Hank. I can't come in. I'm sorry. They won't let nobody in. I love you. I love you, Hank. I'm so glad to see you.
In March, the U.S. Department of Justice launched a national nursing home initiative. It'll target grossly substandard care in nursing homes. Negligent owners and operators could face both criminal and civil penalties. We've got more information for you on that, as well as how you can look up ratings for nursing homes. Go to ktnv.com. Darcy Spears, 13 Investigates.